Hey kids, I am back with What Was the Gold Rush? Reading Chapter 2. Chapter 2, Gold Fever. Just try and show you the pictures again. There we go. Alright, good enough. Work on the sawmill stopped immediately. Marshall's crew had seen the gold nugget. They figured there was more where that came from, so they began hunting for it. Sutter's farmhands soon heard about the gold, too. They left the farm and headed to the river to prospect. They knew they could make a lot more money by finding gold than working the land. At first, only those who lived nearby came. They were checking out the rumors of gold. When they saw it for themselves, they told others. 7 weeks after the first nugget was found, a San Francisco newspaper ran a story. It wasn't a big story. The headline was simple: Gold Mine Found. Only about 800 people lived in San Francisco back then. People who read the small article were curious, but they weren't sure whether to believe it. In the 1860s, the Pony Express would begin cross-country mail service. Telegraph lines would connect the east and west coast. But in 1848, the news of the gold strike traveled slowly, mostly by word of mouth. John Sutter's secret was so exciting, however, that even he had trouble keeping it quiet. In February, he mentioned the gold in a letter to a friend. I have made a discovery of a gold mine, which, according to experiments we have made, is extraordinarily rich. That spring, one of Sutter's workers bought supplies at the store near the sawmill. He paid for them with gold he prospected. The owner of the supply store, Sam Brennan, lived in San Francisco. When he heard about this, he headed to the sawmill. He didn't plan to become a miner himself. He hoped to encourage others to go prospecting. Maybe he could get rich selling tools and supplies to them. At Sutter's sawmill, Brennan found gold dust, enough to fill a bottle. He took the bottle of gold dust back to San Francisco and showed it off. He walked about the streets yelling, "Gold from the American River!" Many who heard him dropped everything to go prospecting on the land surrounding Sutter's sawmill. By that summer, there were 4,000 gold hunters in the Sierra Nevada. In July, a ship going north from San Francisco to Oregon spread the news. In August, word reached to the East Coast. A New York newspaper printed the headline, "Gold! Gold from the American River." By December, there were 10,000 prospectors in California. United States President James K. Polk was excited by the news from California, too. Like many Americans at that time, he believed in the idea of manifest destiny. That meant he thought U.S. citizens had the right and the duty to spread out across America from east to west coast. Manifest destiny was really just an excuse to seize land and resources. The president wanted more people to move west and settle there, and the chance to find gold, a good reason for people in the east to head west. On December 5th, President Polk announced that the rumors of gold in California were true. So you know the Who Was books has extra side inserts. So what is gold? It is a bright golden yellow metal. Most of other metals are gray. It is a chemical element. That means it's naturally pure and not mixed with anything. The standard measurement for gold is called a troy weight. An ounce of gold is about the size of 2 jelly beans. The ounce can be hammered into paper-thin sheet big enough to carpet a whole room. So 2 sized jelly beans of gold can be pushed down really thin to carpet a whole room. And it's pure element, so AU is the thing for it on the periodic table. All right, and here we have a picture of President James K. Polk. The president's word was as good as gold. People on the East Coast caught gold fever. The California gold rush was on. John Sutter had been right to worry. He ended up worse off than before the gold was found. He couldn't stop miners from coming. All of his workers at the farm, fort, and ranch went off prospecting. The fruits in his orchard were rotting on the trees. There was no one left to pick it. Crops weren't planted or harvested. His cattle weren't cared for. So far, the gold rush had been nothing but trouble for him. And here we have, why is gold worth so much? First of all, gold is rarer than most other metals, and it usually costs a lot to mine gold. Also, it doesn't corrode. That means it'll last practically forever. Gold coins lost in shipwrecks don't rust in salt water. In Egypt, King Tut's golden treasures are 3,000 years old, but they still look new. Gold is not magnetic. It conducts heat and electricity. So it is used to make parts inside computers, TVs, and other electronics. That also makes it valuable. Over half of all gold is used to make jewelry. Like my gold ring. This is real gold. That's because it's shiny and beautiful and doesn't break easily. It's one of the most bendable, poundable metals. Look for a tiny stamp on gold jewelry. Pure stamped gold is stamped 24K, 24 carats. Gold that's mixed with other metals will have a lower number, usually 18K or 14K.